Good evening. How's everyone doing? Welcome to the Shoedio, the newly redesigned Shoedio. I do believe this is the first live stream in the new Shoedio. It's been a long time, too long. It's just been a busy couple months, life happens, so it's good to be back though, and let me make sure that everyone can see me here, everyone can hear me. Let me just double check here, some back end stuff. All right, I'm pulling it up on my computer right now, and good to see everyone. The chat is deep. The chat is deep already. There are a lot of folks here already. Thanks for checking in, stopping by the live stream, the Shoedio, talking about the U.S. Olympic Marathon Team Trials. Oh my goodness, I have a feeling we're going to have a good night tonight, breaking down the race a little bit, talking about shoes, of course. Oh my goodness, so good to see everyone. Yes, notification gang is here. That is right, Josh. That is right. Oh, so everyone, Anthony, you can hear me. That is good. Thanks for letting me. Sorry if I'm too loud. You know how I get excited, and the mic does not adjust automatically to the volume of my voice, but good to see everyone. All right, where's everyone from? Let us know in the chat, and just so you know, the chat is critical for these live streams. I think for me, for YouTube and for live streams, it's all about watching you guys chat and making sure I'm listening to your discussions. So that is the goal for me right now, is to see where everyone is from around the world, and it's just a critical point. It's a critical point. Okay, we got someone from Waco, Texas, Nathan. Shout out to Nathan. Who else is here? Oh, thank you, Brian, for noticing the new Shoedio. The camera that I'm using for the live stream isn't quite wide enough to get the full extent of the Shoedio, but I think it's looking pretty good, right? Considering it is my shed. It used to be the shed. Now it's the Shoedio. Hello from Australia. Shout out to Patrick. Illinois is in the house. Berlin. Ooh, Berlin. You're up late. I like it. New York, Toronto. Excuse me, I am still a little under the weather. Ireland is here. Israel, shalom from Israel. Thanks for being here. Colorado Springs is here. Awesome. Dallas, Texas. Oh my goodness. My Saginaw, Michigan. Yes, Boston's in the house. Dan is here from Bluffton, Indiana. We got Angelito from Montreal, Canada. Awesome. Lucy from Dirty Jersey. Nice. Welcome, Lucy. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. How was your run today? I also like to ask that. Let us know. I had my good long run today. You'll learn about that in tomorrow's vlog, but let us know how your run was today as we let people stream in. And if you have a second, in fact, I'm going to do it right now as well. If you have a quick moment, I'm going to share this over on Facebook and Twitter just to invite our running friends into the discussion about the U.S. Olympic Marathon Team Trials. So let me tweet this out real quick. All right, live in the Shoedio. Come hang out. All right, because we have a good time here. We have a good time in the Shoedio, so I'd appreciate it. And, oh man, 200 people watching. That is great. So Hershey, Pennsylvania's here. Oh man, Bama's in the house. Awesome. All right, let's see. Went on an easy 5K just an hour ago. Sir Galapagos. Awesome. Easy 5Ks. I love those runs. They're some of my favorites, actually. Just bop along. Bopping along. All right, Anthony's here. Easy day on the cross-country course. Ran in the wilderness. Awesome. Gabriel, 500-meter repeats at track practice. Woo, that's a good workout. That's a good workout. Oh, Dustin says, nursing Achilles tendonitis. Sorry to hear that, Dustin. It happens to the best of us, right? Those little injuries, those niggles that pop up. So, oh my goodness, we've got a lot to break down. I don't want to take too much time. And tonight, let me just pull up a few notes I have tonight. I want to share some thoughts of what I witnessed in Atlanta because I was there. But I want to answer your questions. And there's going to be a lot of questions about everything, the racing, the wind, oh my goodness, the shoes, So that's the real goal, is to dive into as many questions as possible. So I have a few notes, a few storylines I want to go over as far as what I saw in Atlanta. But at the end of the day, I want to answer your questions. Sound good? So all right, who's here? Stefan had a rest day. Curtis trail run on a beautiful day. Yes, it's finally nice in Denver as well here. Sarasota, Rod is here. Awesome. About to go on a 10K run. That's Roger. And I know, sorry, I just shook the camera. I apologize about that. My drink, my tea, cheers by the way, is sitting on the table where the computer's at. So that's what's going on there. Kurt asked, I appreciate it, Kurt. How's True Love and Henry doing? They're doing great. Henry is sleeping like a champ. He's our fourth boy, and I think we may have figured this out well. Like this isn't our first rodeo. He is. I don't even want to say how well he's sleeping, because I don't want. It's unbelievable how he's just sleeping like a champ. So thanks for asking, Kurt. Okay, let's see. Yes, all right. So I will dive into your questions here in a minute, and let me go over though a few observations that I've made since the race was completed. And first of all, I guess I'll go over the results. So for those that are new to the channel or new to the live stream, again, this is the Shoedio. This is where I do a lot of recording. And oh, my gate just just slammed outside. Sorry about that. And so I like to do at least one live stream a month. It's been a crazy January, February. But I do want to get back into a more topic of the Olympic Marathon Team Trials, which happened last weekend. So let's go over the results real quick. I'm not looking at the chat right now, just so you know. I'm looking at some notes. So here we go. Galen Rupp. So men and women raced. The men started first. Women started second. And I flew down the night before to Atlanta from Denver. Got into my hotel, did a quick jog around Olympic Centennial Park in downtown Atlanta, where the 1996 Olympics were held. Definitely a huge vibe of energy going on. Like, actually, some people on the flight were definitely flying from Denver just to watch the Atlanta race. We'll come back to crowd sizes here in a minute. And that park, if you've ever been to Atlanta, it was completely closed off to the public, and meaning me. I was unable to acquire a media pass, so I could not get into that area to do interviews with the athletes. In case you were wondering why I didn't interview any athletes, I didn't have a media pass. I'm working on figuring out, I need to get an inside connection to USA Track and Field, because these big events, like, I know this is a YouTube channel, that I publish every day, but like, this YouTube channel is growing, and it's because of you out there, and I want to be able to cover some of these bigger events like the track trials in Eugene, Oregon this summer in June. I already asked for a media pass, and I was denied. So, but I'm like, listen, there's a lot of people interested, I think, in what's happening on this channel, and I think we could bring some value to the table. So anyway, that's my little rant for the night, is I was trying to get into that Olympic Park, Centennial Park in downtown Atlanta to interview these athletes. Okay, so here we go, men and women, and then I'll give some thoughts. So just a reminder, on the women's side, Alefine Tuliamuk, 2:27:23 in first place. She runs for Hoka. She trains in Flagstaff, Arizona, and is coached by Ben Rosario. I'm not going to know all the coaches for all these athletes. Second place, Molly Seidel, 2:27:31, so about 8 seconds back. Sally Kipyego, and Molly runs for Saucony. Sally Kipyego, 2:28:52 for third place for the final spot, punching her ticket to Tokyo. And Sally ran for Texas Tech, and so when I was in college 10 years ago, Sally was in college, so I watched Sally race a ton, because I was in the Big 12 back then, now CU is in the Pac-12, but back then we were in the Big 12. So anyway, it was great to see Sally pull off third place, 2:28:52. Okay, on the men's side, Rupp, 2:09:20. Again, Rupp and I were in college. I think we raced once against each other in pre-nats in cross country. I don't think I ever raced against him at nationals, because I wasn't on the Maybe I did actually. Actually, I may have. I don't know. But I watched Rupp a lot in college as well, just crushing competition. So anyway, he ran for Oregon. Now, of course, he runs for Nike. Jacob Riley, kind of a little bit of a dark horse, 2:10:02. So about 40 seconds roughly back from Rupp. And he runs for the Boulder Track Club just up the road from me, about 40 miles up the road in Boulder, Colorado. And then Abdi Abderrahman, 2:10:03, 1 second back from Riley, and edging out Leonard Career by 3 seconds. So Abdi was the third place finisher, and it was crazy. All right. Crowd size was incredible. A couple people were talking about, it felt like about 500,000 people out there in the streets of Atlanta. I don't think we'll ever really know, but it was a lot. You saw my shots if you watched the vlog, and that is good news for running. Long distance running moving forward and I don't know what the crowds were like in Atlanta 4 years ago. If anybody was there, let us know in the chat. But so anyway, crowds were amazing. It was cold. I was sick then. I was more sick then. So it was so windy and I was not ready. I should have brought a big beanie hat because it was cold out. And the athletes, I could tell in the warm up area, they were kind of chilled and they were moving around and trying to get warm. And actually a local in Atlanta said that was definitely the windiest conditions that he had seen in a long time in Atlanta. So I think that was an abnormal day. It wasn't supposed to be that windy. And, and it was, I think that played into a little bit of the racing tactics as far as packing up as much as possible. I will just say right now that I think, the men's race went out, honest. I wouldn't say it went out fast, but it went out an honest pace. And as Jared Ward, who qualified for the Rio Olympics in the marathon 3 years ago, he did not make the team this time. I think he finished, I have it here, 27th. So pretty far back in 2:15:55. And he said that I mentioned this a couple days ago, he looked around at mile 14 in the men's race and he just was like, are there really, there's 50 guys running 2:11 pace at the 14th mile. And this is, an Olympian making this observation. He just couldn't believe the depth in the men's race up front. But you probably witnessed this if you watched it on TV, the carnage. Of course, that is fast pace on that course in those conditions. And sure enough, there was a fair, including Jared Ward. I don't think he was happy, or, I know he wasn't happy with 2:15:55, but the carnage that happened afterward because of that pace on that course. But I think one of the reasons it happened is because the guys were packing up to avoid, to cut through the wind better. All right. So there you go. Those are just a few observations. By the way, welcome if you're just joining. We're talking about the U.S. Olympic Marathon team trials. A couple more storylines I just want to mention, and then we'll dive into questions, is, of course, Molly Seidel. Everyone's talking about her. Pretty amazing. So she ran for Notre Dame, I do believe. Yeah, Notre Dame. Very successful. In college. Very successful. And then she ran into some issues with some eating issues, an eating disorder after college, and took some time off and qualified for the Olympic trials recently. I think it was December or January in a half marathon. And then last fall, she's living in Boston, Massachusetts. And this is Molly Seidel, who took second place. She's an Olympian now. She was working at a coffee shop last fall and babysitting on the side to help pay the bills in Boston, and now shows up in her first marathon ever and qualifies for the Olympics. I think that's an amazing storyline on the ladies' side, like Molly Seidel. But we can't also forget either that Rupp, 4 years ago in Los Angeles, that was his first marathon as well, and he won, and he punched his ticket to Rio for the Olympics 4 years ago, and it was his first marathon, and he ended up winning it. But just wanted to mention that story about Molly Seidel. It's a pretty I think that's going to be, I mean, it's almost worthy of a book, honestly. Like, I think it's just a really, really great story. And for her to overcome those challenges that she faced in her life, those personal challenges, and just amazing. So, okay, I could go on and on about storylines. You all know that. I'm going to open it up to some questions. By the way, welcome to over 300 people watching. I appreciate it. Let's see. So, I'm ready for questions, and you all know about Super Chat. It's a way to get your question bumped up, just so you know. So if you have any questions about, that you want me to definitely see, because there's going to be a lot of questions rolling in. Okay, let me just pull up here real quickly here. Okay, I'm just waiting for some questions. Run Tommy. He asked thoughts on the pregnant runners. I think it's amazing. First of all, okay, I'll come back to you in a second, Lee. So there were two ladies who were running the Olympic trials pregnant. And they didn't know they were going to be pregnant, like when they qualified for the Olympic trials. My mom went the day I was born. She was a runner. She started a race the day I was born. Anyway, that's a little side story for you. But I think it's amazing. And just absolutely amazing. Okay, we're jumping into Lee. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Lee, thank you for the super chat. Baby needs a new pair of shoes. We love you. See you in New York in November. Hoka running #1. Lee, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it, Lee. That's amazing. And okay, here we go. More coming in here. Okay, let's see. And these are questions all about the U.S. Olympic Marathon team trials. I think I saw one up here. I'm sure there's going to be questions about gym, right? Let's see here. 1 second. Is that Hoka? So let's see. I'm sorry. I'm just waiting for the questions to roll in. Bill asks, are you able to go to Eugene? Bill, I don't know yet. I'm still trying to figure that schedule. I'm still trying to figure out that schedule. So let me just pull up a few notes here that I have as I wait for a few questions to come in. So what shoes did the top 3 finishers run in? So on the men's side, I actually learned this. So on the men's side, Rupp was in the Alpha Fly, and Jacob Riley was in the Alpha Fly. But I think Abdi, I think he was in the Vaporfly, not the Alpha Fly. So that's interesting. On the ladies' side, I'm guessing, I don't know actually, but I'm guessing that Delphine was wearing, is that her name? I'm sorry, pronouncing her name. Alafine, sorry. I think Alafine was probably in the new Hoka shoe, the Rocket X. Molly Seidel, I think, okay, so the Saucony Endorphin Pro, but then I'm hearing rumblings that there's the Pro 2, okay, so it's like, it's not available to the public yet, and so anyway, and let me just pull up here on DeMoor Global Running on Facebook. I do believe someone posted, and I cannot confirm the source of this. I asked the gentleman, so here's a breakdown. So as far as the Vaporfly Next percent, 65 men and 148 women were wearing that. Again, I don't know the source on this, but anyway, let me just jump back over here to Kipyego. I believe she was in the Alpha Fly as well. Sorry, I don't know the top 3 shoes. Jackson asks, who do you think will sign Riley? Thank you, Jackson, for that question. Jackson, I'm wondering, my guess would be Nike, but I'm wondering if he's the reason he's stayed independent is so he can choose the shoes that he runs in. And for those that don't know, Riley won the Chicago Marathon last fall, okay? And he's the runner from the Boulder Track Club just up the road. But my guess would be the Nike, Yeah, okay. Let's see. Let's see. Will Rupp medal in Tokyo? That is from Micah. I love this question. And this probably gets into weather, okay? If you want to talk about the weather. Micah, I'm going to say I'm going to lean away from a medal. I hate to do it. And who knows? But I think just, he overcame the injury, obviously, but there's the depth. You've seen the depth in Boston, in Dubai, in Tokyo. I think compared to 4 years ago, the depth is just getting harder and harder. So obviously, I'm hoping he has a good training block leading into Tokyo, but that is my gut is telling me it's going to be really difficult, like even way more difficult than Rio. That's just my gut. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Moving on here. Griffin asked, do you think Lagat is done for the Olympics? Yes, I do think Lagat is done because he's 45, and that means he would be 49. And so, but he does say that, excuse me, Lagat said after the race that he's excited to continue to race marathons, okay? So for those that don't know, Bernard Lagat, 45 years old, he is actually more of a 1,500 meter runner and then moved up to the 5K. I don't think he did a ton of racing. Did he do a ton of racing at 10K? A little bit, but then now at 45, he's proving that age is truly just a number. So he finished 17th or 18th. I have it here. Let's see. He finished 18th in the Olympic trials in Atlanta. Okay, moving on here. So Lee, this is a great question. What will the impact be on runners if the Tokyo Olympics is postponed by 3 months? And I actually might make a vlog about the coronavirus. For those that don't know, they're talking about canceling or delaying the Olympics, possibly. I have an opinion on that. I won't give it now, but I will say that impact on runners if Tokyo Olympics is postponed, it will be an impact, but frankly, honestly, it just gives them more time to train and to really get healthy. So it's probably not and Tokyo is really hot as far as the track events is really hot in July and August. So if it is postponed to, let's say, October, November, I think Tokyo will be quite a bit cooler. So I think it would actually help the runners. Just saying. So anyway, that is, I'll give my thoughts. I think I'm going to make a vlog about the coronavirus because so many people are asking me about it. But those are my initial thoughts. Okay, Drew, make sure in the chat you put a question mark for your questions because it's a lot easier to find them. Gabriel asked thoughts on 16-year-old girl in the trials. So for those that don't know, a high schooler qualified for the Olympic trials. I think it's fine. Like, I don't really encourage high schoolers to like be racing marathons because I think like the patient approach to aerobic development is always it's just better. And I like to use the speed while you have it. So when you're younger, you have more speed and you have more turnover and you're more limber. And so I have nothing against it, but yeah, I mean, good for her for qualifying. But I like to, it's same with like ultra running. Like, I think I've learned my lesson. Like, I think I might be a better ultra runner in my 40s than I am in my early 30s is my my approach. Okay, moving on here. Let's see. Yes, I know the marathon is in Sapporo, but I'm talking about the track events as well. So yes, I know it's in Sapporo, but it's still going to be warm. So, Eric asked, does the Atlanta course reflect the Olympic course? Not at all, Eric. So the Sapporo course is much flatter. And this is a big question, a big topic. Do you think the Atlanta, the Atlanta Track Club, shout out to them. They put on an incredible event for the athletes. It was very athlete focused. I could tell they were really taking care of the athletes before the race, after the race, as far as having facilities set up. So it's not just like show up and it just was, I could tell it was a really well done event. And so the course in Atlanta was very hilly. 1,300 feet of elevation gain, and the Sapporo course is nowhere near that. And so people are wondering, like, do you think the USA Track and Field and the Atlanta Track Club made a mistake hosting the marathon in Atlanta? And do you think that impacted the race? Well, of course it impacted the race, but I don't think it impacted the top three, like who were actually going to make it. Fitness is fitness. And yeah, okay, some runners might be a little stronger in the hills, but Galen Rupp is Galen Rupp. Like, he's a speed guy. He's a track guy. And he did great in the hills. Jim Walmsley, who a lot of people were rooting for, who's an ultra runner and trains in Flagstaff, Arizona at 7,000 feet and mountain running and it's like he's primed and ready for the hills, and he ended up in 15 yeah 15 was he 22nd place? Hold on. 22nd place in 2:15:05. So I think at the end of the day, sorry if there's a buffering that's going to happen. Sorry about that. So I think at the end of the day, fitness does not lie, and I think that the best three made it on that day. And frankly, I think the grit of racing in those conditions on that course, you want tough runners going to the Olympics, in my opinion. So those the 3 men, 3 women, those 6 athletes proved they were the toughest, like in really difficult running and racing conditions. So those are my thoughts there. I guess a second little rant of the day. Okay, moving on here. Let's see. CC. Do you think, Todd asked, do you think men's and women's trials should be contested on different days? Olympic trials TV coverage was not that great for the women's race. I've heard that the NBC really did not do a good job at all. And I was watching a little bit of the race on my phone live. I haven't gone back and watched a replay. I heard there was a lot of commercials and a lot of interruptions, and I could even just tell like the car positioning with the camera wasn't close enough to the runners. And they didn't have motorcycles alongside the runners. And not that I noticed, you know what, probably a little bit because of the course design, they were unable to do that too much. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. That comes from Samir. I appreciate it. We got to pour one out for our homie Tommy Pusey. Okay, there you go. Thank you for the super chat. So anyway, what was the question? It was about, I got distracted by the super chat. Yes. Okay. So anyway, the TV coverage, I apologize that it was so poor. I wish they would have done a better job for you guys who are watching. And I know some people had watch parties. So anyway, so, oh yeah. Do you think sorry, I'm a little out of it. Do you think men's and women's trials should be contested on different days? I don't think so, because I think, no, I like how the fact the women started, I guess what I would have done maybe is the women start first and have them start further ahead, like maybe like they do in Boston and the big city marathons. I think the course makes it a little difficult because it was a looped course, but I think they could have pulled it off if they put the ladies far enough ahead, because believe it or not, the ladies at the front were catching the slower men, okay? So the ladies were actually catching the men. So anyway, that argument goes out the window. Okay, moving on here. Again, thank you for that super chat. Excuse me. Sorry for the cough. Sorry. I'm still battling this. Okay. Drew asked, do you think that Jim Walmsley would have had a shot if he would have stayed with Galen when the pack caught the breakaway? No. So here's the deal on Jim. For those that, I love Jim. I've gotten to know Jim through the World Mountain Running Championships, and I think Jim has found his niche in ultra running and 100-mile races. Like he's the best. I mean, in my opinion, he's the best in the United States. But ultra running is so much different than road marathon racing, as I'm discovering personally right now with Amsterdam and New York City. Like I'm learning as I go. And this was Jim's first marathon. He ran 2:15 on a really difficult course. I think Jim's going to come back. I think he's going to come back and he's going to do well in road marathons moving forward. But I will just make a little observation. Running 175 miles a week, that's what Jim was doing every now and then in his training leading up to the Olympic trials. And you hear about I think it was too much. I'll just put it very simply. I think that was too much mileage. I would have focused more on speed, more on turnover, more on plyometrics. And I know he was doing that stuff, but even so, actually I read an article about Jacob Riley and his training, who took second. I'll make a point on that. And I think Jim, in this article about Jacob Riley and his coach, Lee Troop, who is an Australian, right? Shout out to the Aussies, is that he talks about absorbing the training that you're doing, which really can only happen through rest days and easy days. That's why I'm always talking about running 9-minute pace on easy days for me. And I can run pretty fast. And like my easy days are easy. So I think with Jim, 175 miles a week, to pull that off, you're running a lot. Like there's like rest. I don't know when you really rest running 175 miles a week. And he was pulling from the Japanese style of training. And I'm reading some books about Japanese training right now, actually. And they do emphasize high volume. And the Japanese do really well in, marathon racing around the world. But they don't often, rarely, every now and then, but they don't win marathons that often. So I'm just wondering if this is a little bit of a learning curve for us and for everyone. Anyway, that's just my observation on Jim and his training. And back to Jacob Riley, one of the workouts, I thought this was cool. They talked about workouts that Jacob did, and he did progression runs, one at 8 weeks out and one at 4 weeks out from the Olympic trials. And the progression run was pretty intense. And I'm not going to have all the numbers exactly right, but it was basically for him 6-minute pace for 4 miles, 5:45 pace for 4 miles, 5:30 or 5:20 to 5:30 pace for 4 miles, and then dropped it down to like marathon pace, which I think he was basically 5-minute pace for 4 miles, around those numbers roughly. And he did that at 8 weeks out and 4 weeks out. I think that's awesome and brilliant, and I love that type of training and that progression. And he did it. He did it on some hilly. It wasn't exactly a flat course either. So anyway, a little insight into the second place finishers training and how he managed to pull it off. And his coach, Lee Troop, who when he saw Jacob do those workouts, he's like, wow, he's ready. Like he's ready for this attempt. Okay, I went on and on there for a while. Here we go. Let's see. From Johnny. Do you think Galen should have been competing with the controversy around the doping ban on Salazar? I'm not afraid to dive into tough topics, so thank you for bringing it up, Johnny. I don't, because as far as I know, Galen is innocent, meaning I haven't seen any tests positive. Now, I know he was his coach. I know, you could say the same thing about Jordan Hesse. And I know there's been some discussion in the news about Mo Farah, who used to be coached by Salazar. But I'm all about innocent until proven guilty. And that's how I approach it. And there's so much, what is it even called? When you gossip, there's so much gossip out there, and I just don't even get into it, because until something is proven, I don't even go there. So no, I think I was fine with Jim with Galen and Jordan competing. Okay, moving on here. Someone's asking about Jordan. A couple people actually. Jordan Hesse was having back issues. So that's why, one of the reasons she said she had a tough day, I think, was her back issues. Kim, so maybe there's a discussion happening about Kilian Jornet would not compete well on the roads, yet he is virtually unbeatable in the mountains. That's a comment from Kim. Shout out to Kim. Thanks for watching, Kim. I totally agree. I think Kilian would run, I think he would run about a 219, 220. If I can run like a 223 on a flat course in Amsterdam, I think Kilian would be, 220-ish is my guess. But that's a great point, Kim. Who knows? Maybe not. Maybe his legs are like huge. Okay, moving on here. More questions here from Drew. And make sure any questions you have, and sorry if I'm missing some, I will do my best. And I'm only answering questions about the Olympic trials because that's our focus for tonight. How much do you think Mike Smith contributed to Rupp's performance? I'm going to call myself out, Drew. Before the race, I said not that much because Rupp is Rupp, and but afterward, I heard an interview from Galen, and he said that actually Mike helped a lot, and maybe not so much on the physiological side and the actual workout side. I'm sure he did, but more on the mental side, actually. That's what I was hearing from Rupp when I listened to his post-race interviews. So kudos to, because that's a tough spot to be, Mike Smith. Because Salazar, for whatever you think about him, he, well, that's a whole nother topic, but to take one of the best American distance runners and just kind of embrace him, like, that's a big responsibility. That's what I'm trying to say. And anyway, so far so good with a W at the Olympic trials. Oh, thank you, John. I appreciate that, John. Henry DeMoor, Shoe Fun, thank you for that super chat. I appreciate it. You rock. Yes, Henry, we'll see. What should be Henry's first running shoes that I buy? Okay, here we go. Let's see. Jack asks, how do you think the U.S. qualifiers will fare against the competition in Tokyo? Jack, good question. I kind of touched upon it earlier. It's going to be warm, right? I mean, even though they're going 500 miles north, it's going to be warm. And how warm, I don't know. And so I think they're going to need to do some heat training. That is for sure. I hope well. It's like, I don't know the field yet. And I already said that it's going to be, I would say, a little bit of a long shot for Rupp to medal. I'm hoping, right? It's like we all hope for the United States to be represented well out there. And I know there's people watching from around the world right now. But anyway, we're talking about the U.S. Olympic trials. So anyway, those are my thoughts. And by the way, 437 people watching. Thanks for hanging out in the Shoedio. But yeah, it's tough. Jackson asked, biggest disappointment from the trials. Okay, Jackson, interesting. I don't know if you mean from the athlete perspective or if you mean from just like my experience out there. My personal experience was not being able to move around. I really wanted to film an aid station exchange for all of you with my nice lens. Did you like the shots with that nice big lens? I got some nice slow-mo shots. So that was probably my biggest disappointment. But I honestly thought, yeah, gosh, I don't know. I'm sorry. I wasn't disappointed at all. Like, I was happy for all the athletes that made it. I don't want to say I was disappointed at any. I mean, I wish that maybe some, and I don't know if they were injured, but there were quite a few DNFs, and you never want to DNF. I've DNF'd in an ultra race, but maybe less DNFs, but who knows? Maybe they were injured. I don't know. I guess I did hear that some runners threw in the towel because they realized, okay, my race is done and I might be able to do another spring marathon. I did hear that. I don't really like that. Anyway, I hope I gave you a good answer there. Okay. Thank you, Lee. Again, I appreciate it. Michael needs a taller stool to reach the cookie jar. That's awesome. Thank you again, Lee, for that super chat. Oh, you Michael's stealing cookies. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Tom asked, do you think the fields were too large, i.e. limit to 100 men and women? Caitlin Goodman took a nasty fall and was trampled in the women's race. Thanks, Seth. That's from Tom. And also, oh my goodness. Oh man, there's a lot of names. The name from Boulder, Tin Man Elite, a gentleman went down in his race as well. It'll come to me. Anyway, if you know who I'm talking about, he fell twice. He fell at the 4-mile mark and the 5-mile mark. One of them was a trip up with other runners. Tom, I mean, it is fun, I must say. Like, for me, the outsider looking in, like if it was 100 men, 100 women, I would be very, very hard-pressed to make the Olympic trials. I don't think it needs to be smaller. I think maybe course design could be potentially a little better. I guess the gentleman that fell the second time, he stepped in a pothole. So finding a course that has really good pavement and no potholes. I did notice like it wasn't the footing, and it's a road race, but the footing, I did notice a little unevenness in some of the spots, just a little bit. It wasn't horrible, but so I don't think the fields, but I do think it should remain challenging to get into the race, Tom. I do want to stress that, like for me, I was trying to run 2:19 and I didn't make it. And I trained pretty hard, right? You guys watched me train last fall, so I like that. I like the fact that I didn't make it, and there's a lot of other guys that didn't make it. And so as long as the field had to work hard to get there is my point, okay? So those are my thoughts there, Tom, but oh man, the race did spread out pretty quickly on the women's side because there were so many ladies. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. How did my top 3 picks fare? Not so good. I only got one right. Galen Rupp, out of the 6, I only got one right. And the others, like Jordan finished. She finished. Molly Huddle DNF'd. Who were my other picks? I'm not even going to go there. Not even going to go there right now. Okay, where would you like to see the next trials? Oh, that's a great question, Anthony. Because guess what? I'm going to try and make it to the next trials. That's one of my goals in the next 3 years. And that's really like, Reed Fisher, thank you. That's it. That's who fell. Reed Fisher, you rock. Thank you so much. I would love to see the trials. Honestly, I'd prefer, I don't love racing in cold conditions. Atlanta was a little chilly, but I don't mind hills. For some reason, San Diego jumps out at me, but you don't want it to be too hot, and I would rather the race started at noon. I'd rather have the race start at like 7 a.m. Like that's just kind of the natural rhythm of waking up, and so yeah, San Diego. I'm going to say San Diego. Sea level. Is San Diego flat, though, or flat-ish? I don't know. I haven't been to San Diego in a long, long time. So I'm going to say San Diego. Let's see. And I already answered Flipper WI. I actually already answered that about the rolling course for the trials. Yeah, I answered that. I think it was okay because at the end of the day, I think fitness doesn't lie, and I think the toughness of the runners wins the day. Okay, moving on here. Let's see. I'm trying to find the questions. I always put those question marks. Raymond asks, how do you feel about qualifying through half marathon? How applicable is a 104 half for a competitive full marathon? I think it's fair. I think it's a good number. I think 104 is fast. I think that's the harder way to go. I'm running a half marathon in Texas next month, so I'm hoping to run fast. We'll just see what happens. But yeah, I think it's fair, the 104. I don't think it should get any slower, that half marathon time. So, because if you can run a half marathon fast and you're training smart, like you should be able to run a marathon well, really well. Let's see. Okay. Sophia asks, Jibs training and race strategy. Sophia, I'm sorry. I actually did already answer that. So if you want to watch the replay, it'll go live on YouTube here in a little bit. But I did answer that about, quick answer, a little too much volume, maybe a little more focus on rest and recovery, and then a little more on plyometrics and speed. That's just quick answer for you. Okay, moving on here. Yes, 77JSC. Do you think the next women's qualifying time will come down? I do. So there was 500 women who qualified. It was like basically double the men. Just goes to show the women are tougher or something. I don't know. It will come down. I think they realized, and I wonder what it was for, if anybody knows, what it was for LA for the women. But man, that is a lot. But it could just be speaking to the depth of women's long distance running in the United States. I don't think so, though. It is deep, but that's a lot to double the men. So anyway, moving on here. Okay, we haven't talked much about shoes. Here you go. Do you think it was smart for the athletes to switch to the Alpha Fly for the trials just a day after receiving them? Oh man. So as far as the shoe discussion goes, like on the ladies' side, she was not wearing the Alpha Flies, and she won. Do you think, like, Jacob Riley was actually the guy that took second? He was planning, well, he was considering to wear the next percent, and then he received the Alpha Fly, went on a jog, and decided he liked the feel a little better. Okay, that's what he said in an interview. He liked the feel of the Alpha Fly a little better than the next percent. And actually, why not? Here's a half of a next percent. And I think a lot of runners don't like the upper on the next percent. The vapor weave, that's what it's called. The vapor weave upper, and I would agree with that. So I think and the new upper is, I believe it's called the Atom Knit. Atom Knit. It's a little more, it's the Atom Knit. So I think they're similar shoes, and so I think oh gosh. So to actually answer your question, I think at the end of the day, they're similar shoes, that it's not a huge enough difference. But I am still confused. I did see a few athletes with Nikes on that were wearing other like New Balance singlets, and maybe they just weren't sponsored, but they were just wearing a New Balance singlet. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Good question. Matt asks, what is the time frame for running a qualifying trials time? Matt, that's a great question. Who knows? I think it's 2.5 years. I don't know, actually. Matt, thank you for bringing that up. I need to find that out because that impacts me. I don't know. If anyone has more, I think they announced the times about 2.5 years out, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's less. I don't know. Okay, moving on here to Marathon Runner 97. Oh, this is fun. You said Ryan Hall would compete in the 2024 trials. What would be the chances of that happening? Oh, so for those that it was, I think the vlog 3 days ago now, I basically made a bold prediction that Ryan Hall would compete in the next marathon trials. So if you haven't seen Ryan Hall recently, and for those that don't know, the best marathon runner in American history, and he is a bodybuilder now. Like, okay, he's not like crazy huge, but he's like way, way stronger now. Like, he doesn't look like a runner. Like, he's ripped. And he ran for Stanford, very successful, competed against Ritzenhein in college, Dathan Ritzenhein. Here's what I'm thinking. I think, honestly, everyone, we are missing, as long-distance running fans and American distance running, and one of the reasons Ryan Hall stopped racing and just kind of called it is that he trained really hard, like 140-mile weeks, high intensity, around Mammoth Lakes, California, and he just said, like, his body was just kind of saying enough is enough. But I think Lagat, Meb, even though he didn't race last weekend, and Abdi, sorry, did I say Abdi? Abdi Abdurrahman, yeah, he made the team. He was third place. These guys are all over 40. Meb was racing very competitively, I think late 30s, early 40s. I think the age is getting pushed further and further. And I think Rupp versus Hall at the marathon, both of them in their at least close to prime years, I think we are missing some incredible racing right now. It makes me sad. And that's why I said it, Marathon Runner 97. I am hoping and praying that Ryan Hall and Rupp are able to compete. Now, listen, it's probably not going to happen because Ryan Hall is retired. But I just am like, Ryan Hall, you could still be doing this, I think, at a high level. That's my gut opinion. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. Oh, it gets me going. Okay, here we go. Yes, Kim, Abdi, Ritz, Meb. You can, let's see. Michelle says you can get really skinny after developing muscles. You eat less and do less weights. Yes. Let's see. Okay. If you had qualified for the trials, would you have run in the Alpha Fly? That's a good question, Tom. Let's see. No. So I've said that I'm not going to race in the Alpha Fly. Now, I don't own the Alpha Fly. I haven't seen the Alpha Fly. The reason I said I wouldn't race in the Alpha Fly is because the stack height on the prototype was so high. But they've dropped the stack height in order to come under the 40 millimeter requirements for World Athletics. And I don't think I will. I don't have a burning desire to race in the Alpha Fly. I hope to test it for all of you, though, just so you know. I'm trying to get my hands on a pair so I can test it for all of you, but I don't think I would have. Okay, moving on. Kurt asks, oh my goodness. Qualifying times are as follows. Yeah, September 1st, 2017 to January 19th, 2020. So I was roughly right. About a year, am I doing the math right? About a year and a half. So that's what the qualifying, thank you, Kurt, for the research. Also, the times to qualify were based on the B standard, so unless they change those, yeah, okay, there you go. So 18, 19, roughly 2 years, 2.5 years, roughly. Okay, it's probably like 2 full years of marathon cycles. Gurn asks, do you think that Jacob Riley has a smart strategy of not signing with anyone? Yes. I mean, listen, I don't know if he has a day job. I don't know how he pays his bills. He might be able to get a contract now. I don't know his deal. He must be doing something to bring in money, and I like it. I like the strategy because it allows you to wear different shoes, like all the shoes in the Shoedio. But anyway, I'm sure at the end of the day, he's probably going to sign with someone, and he was the first American in Chicago. I think earlier I said he won Chicago. He was the first American in Chicago in October. Kevin asked, do you think the running shoes war has begun? Yes, and it's a good thing, meaning, Saucony, New Balance, Skechers, Hoka, it's all happening. I think it's a good thing. I think it's good. It keeps the playing field as even as possible, and everyone's going to innovate. I think there's going to be so many shoes that probably look like the Alpha Fly in the future or similar to the Alpha Fly. Anyway, it's fun. I think it also helps keep the prices down for all of us, right? $275. Woo! Hey yo. Okay, let's see. Anthony asked, were you surprised to not see more Adidas at the trials? Anthony, that's a good question. I saw some. Adidas is coming out with their carbon fiber plate shoe. That's another one. So maybe runners were just waiting, but I'm not too surprised, actually. I'm not too surprised. I think they're waiting. Let's see here. Okay, let's see. Did anyone run in the Skechers Speed Elite? That's a good question. So on Facebook, I actually have a list of shoes. I don't see it, everyone. Wow, that's interesting. So I have a list. I don't know the source of this list, but somebody created a list of all the shoes that everyone ran in. Somebody posted it on the DeMoor Global Running Facebook group, and I can't verify the source, so I don't know if it's true. Like, it's saying that there was Adios 5, the newer Adios lineup. There was 3 men and 1 lady in the Adios 5. That's interesting. And so quite a few, interesting. But I don't see any Skechers shoes. So that is crazy. That is crazy. I mean, I love I like it so far, but I guess Skechers just hasn't made inroads. Were there any Skechers athletes there? I don't know. Man, it's really interesting. Good point. I like it. Let's see. What does the carbon fiber plate do to improve shoes? Michelle, that's a good question. We'll leave that for another time. Michelle, I've made a lot of vlogs about that. All right, we'll take 3 more questions all about the U.S. Olympic Marathon Team Trials. Here we go. Jordan asks, also curious about thoughts on Walmsley's cadence. Do you 166? There's no way it was 166. I mean, I think that's too low. But I will say, Jordan, that I think looking at the footage, if you go watch the vlog again, look at Walmsley. later in the race, it looked like he was overstriding. I noticed he just, I think he was trying to catch up, and it's tempting to, kind of bound. He's kind of got that bounding stride. It's a beautiful stride, but yeah, I did notice he looked a little bit like he was overstriding. That's my observation late in the race of Walmsley. Okay, Joe said Runner's World made the list. Thank you, Joel or Joe. You're the best. You rock. Thank you for that. That's a reliable source. I like that. Drew said, did you notice that Molly Huddle ran in the Kinvara? I did not notice that, filming in person. It was a lot to absorb all at once, but if she did, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's wild. I did not know that. If that's true, that's crazy. Okay, moving on here. We'll take two more. Do you know where the next trials will be? From a Canadian Chris? I don't know. I don't know. What do you think happened? I don't think, and nobody knows. I don't think they've decided. What do you think happened with Des? Ooh, this is good. I like this. Did she go out too fast? Yeah, she was okay. Honestly, if I had a chance to make the Olympics, I would be tucking in to that pack so bad. Like, Legat was sitting right at the back of the peloton of the men. I watched him, and he's like the elder, the 45-year-old. He gets it. Like, just draft. And most of them were smart. Rupp was mostly like, I would say 2 or 3 people deep. He was playing it smart. Abdi was kind of pushing it a little bit. He was not drafting as much. Riley was drafting. And, oh man, I would have been drafting so hard. Like, it makes a difference, especially on a windy day. So I think Des should have tucked in a little more. And my old teammate, Laura Thweet, who took 5th place, she almost made the Olympics. And she's made so much progress as a runner. Laura Thweet, 5th place, runs for Saucony, trains in Boulder, Colorado. She was pressing the pace a little. And she said in a post-race interview, she kind of regrets a little bit, not regrets, but like she said, it's the Olympic trials. I'm going to go for it. But I think I would have it's like time doesn't matter in this type of race. It's just all about making the team. So I would have tucked in a little bit more if I were them. There you go. I think that was 3. Thank you for the last super chat. Thanks for the show. There you go. Kurt, he did not race. One more. He asked, how did Andy Wacker do? He did not race. Okay. U.S. Olympic Marathon Team Trials. We went for exactly an hour. Thanks for hanging out in the Shoedio. I wish we could go longer, but frankly, I got to go edit, and I got to go drink some tea, butter that bread, and rest up for another day of training tomorrow. Hope you're doing well. I hope you enjoyed the vlog. I think the filming turned out pretty well. I want to do better, though, for all of you. There was a few mistakes I made, but overall, I think it turned out to be a pretty solid video. So you're the best. There you go. You guys are rocking. And if you want to hang out for a little bit in the chat, I'll leave it up for a second. Lee, I don't know who seems like the most natural distance runner as far as the DeMoor boys go. We've got our cross-country team, though. We've got our cross-country team, right? Thank you, William. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Didier. Sorry about the name, not saying the name right. Patrick, Joel, Tom, for just hanging out. Todd. Oh, Todd, good to see you. It's been a while. Rodrigo, Spencer, and we're going to do more of this. Like, we didn't even break down the Tokyo Marathon. It was just so much happened last weekend. And then the Vitality Half Marathon in London this past weekend as well, with Bekele running 60:22. It looks like the London showdown, Bekele versus Kipchoge, is going to be epic. Because Bekele, the big thing with Bekele is his health, and it looks like he's healthy about 8 weeks out, 7 to 8 weeks out. So anyway, we got a lot of live stream catch up to do here in the Shoedio. So we'll be making it happen sooner rather than later. All right, you get me going. I can't say goodbye. I can't say goodbye. Oh, Josh, I did meet you in Atlanta. I remember you, Josh. Thanks for being here. That's awesome. Matt, you rock. Daily streams, daily live streams. Oh man, that would be amazing someday. Hi from the Philippines. Thanks, PJ, for being here. Oh, you are the best. Oh, no, you're the best, Patrick. You're the best. Oh, there we go. Okay. I guess I got to go. Butter it. Kevin says that Molly Seidel wore the Saucony Endorphin Pro. Nice. Okay, thank you, Kevin, for doing that research for me. I appreciate it. I need a producer here, sitting right here, doing research on the side as we're going. So, and real quick, Julio, I saw your answer. I saw this question earlier. Am I doing the Boulder this year? He says he's planning to run it. He lives in Houston, Texas. Julio, I am. I'm planning it. So I'm going to run the Hamburg Marathon. I'm going to rest a little bit, but I'm going to use my fitness and go run a fast 10K, although it's at altitude. But I'm excited to race a shorter distance. So yes, I'm planning to run the Boulder, which is a big 10K race here in Colorado for everyone that does not know. All right. Onward and upward, basketball team. That's right, Lee. That is right. All right. Seek beauty, work hard, and love each other. See you tomorrow.